Hi, welcome to Elementary Music with Donna. I am Donna Rhodenizer. I have a song called Witch Watches to tell you about today. It is a new song that I have written for upper elementary students, grades 4 to 6, or vocal studio singers about age 10 and up. It's based on a tongue twister, so there is a challenge to this. And my reasoning behind that is when I'm looking for music for my older students, they are very sophisticated listeners and they want to do sophisticated music, but their skill sets are not often such that they can accomplish success with the complicated music that they like to listen to. So we have to present music for them that gives them confidence and success, a little bit of challenge, but that is not childish and that they don't think is just beneath them, so they aren't interested in doing it. So a tongue twister kind of fits that bill for them. The music can be somewhat simple, but the complexity of the text is what's going to pull them in and have them say, yeah, I want to try this. I found the tongue twister Witch Watches, which is, if two witches were watching two watches, which watch would each witch watch? And I thought that just sounds like a great premise for a story, which then, of course, is a great premise for a song. And so I put together a 2-verse song called Witch Watches. Now, when presenting this in your classroom or your vocal studio, it can be a song. It's in 6/8. It's in a minor key. Both of those things are great for the Halloween season, and they are great for making conscious these concepts for your older students. If you want to just ignore talking about 6/8 meter and minor tonalities, it's just fun to be able to sing it by rote, and that will work just as well. But it is a great opportunity to kind of dissect what's happening in the song a little bit and talk about the theory behind 6/8 meter and minor tonalities. A fun activity that can be used with Witch Watches is to actually start with this as a spoken expressive piece. You can do this talking about diction and expressiveness when you're trying to emphasize certain words or make your voice interesting as you're reading text. And that can transfer very nicely into your singing expressively as well. But you can start with it as a spoken piece. And I'm going to actually read you the story of Witch Watches so that you can hear it as a story first. So here is Witch Watches. If two witches were watching two watches, which watch would each witch watch? Would each witch try watching the watch of the other, or would each witch watch only her own witch watch? If two witches were watching two watches, which watch would each witch watch? I wonder which witch is the one witch to watch. How I wish I knew which witch to watch. If two witches with watches start talking, who would watch each witch watch? The watch could stop ticking or maybe stop talking, and no one would know if it ticks or it stops. If two witches with watches start talking, who would watch each witch watch? With two watches ticking and no witches watching, two witches with watches tick-tock. And there's a little play on words there that only someone with the written text will get, because instead of tick-tock like the clock, the last word is T-A-L-K for the talk. So you can chat a little bit about that, but it won't sound any different in the spoken version. So you can have a lot of fun doing that as just an expressive spoken piece. You can add rhythmic ostinati to that. You can have some sound effects added to that. You can have some students dramatize it while other students speak it. And there are lots of things that you can do just as a rhythmically spoken expressive piece. Now, the same expressiveness that you do when you're speaking has to be transferred to when you are singing it as well. And so then you can transfer that and sing it. There is a package that I've put together that goes with Witch Watches. I have provided a lyrics page, so you can do that with just reading it, or they might need to see the lyrics when they're singing it and try to stay on track. There is a vocal score. There is a piano score with the vocal part, so a full score that's provided. There are some teaching strategies and 2 vocal warm-ups pages, and there are 2 MP3 tracks. There is a full piano with a melody guide played instrumentally, and then just the piano part on its own without the melody played. And that's all part of a package that you can find at donnanedi.com under the Songs and Stories tab. The teaching strategies include 4 tongue twisters that you can provide for your students as a warm-up before you ever get into Witch Watches. I saw this done brilliantly by Nikki Loney in her vocal music class at Full Voice Music. And she has what she calls the jar of doom. And I actually was watching her do this online when everybody went to online classes. And she had this jar of tongue twisters, and she's got her hand in, she's swirling it around, and she says to her students, "Tell me when to stop." And they say, "Stop." And she says, "I'm going to pull a tongue twister out of the jar of doom." And she makes this big dramatic presentation, and the kids are all just quivering, waiting to see what tongue twister they're going to have to be able to successfully speak. And so she pulls it out and reads it for them. Students just love to do that. They like to try to see if they can be successful at saying these complicated or not so complicated tongue twisters. In the music classroom, I've done this and asked the students to bring their favorite tongue twister. We put their tongue twister into the jar as well. And then when it gets pulled out and somebody has to read one and it's one that a student has put in, they love that ownership to know that their tongue twister might trip somebody up in their class. For the 4 tongue twisters I've included in my teaching strategies, I've also created a melodic vocal warm-up line that I've written out, so you can use those as melodic vocal warm-ups before you start to sing the song. And that, as I said, is part of this whole downloadable package for you. Halloween songs are so great for your students. They allow some dramatic, expressive storytelling topics to be performed. They're often in minor keys, and that's a great time to either put that tonality into your student's ear or to make it conscious. There's, not in this song, but there are opportunities to add vocalizing, even your sound effects, that woo kind of sound, ghosty sounds. And students will love to do that where they might not be quite so interested in trying to go, ah, if they think they're trying to be singing a serious piece of music. But when they think they're just fooling around and having fun, they are more than happy to do some of those vocalizations. And that's great for lifting the voice into those higher ranges and try to help work on that head voice sound. And it's just fun. The kids think they're just having fun, and they're learning so many great concepts along the way as part of Halloween seasonal songs. I wish you all the best in your elementary music classrooms, grades 4 to 6, or your vocal studios with your singers ages 10 and up, as you look for repertoire that will challenge them and inspire them and keep them singing and smiling and being happy singers. Do have fun with Witch Watches. Have a great day making music, and make music a great part of your day.